Happy Wednesday. Can you believe we're already November 1st and here we are, ready to go to the first round of the playoffs. And you know what? I don't know about you, Dale, but it feels a little bit more like football weather just because it got cold here the last
Yep.
few days. How about you? What's
Yeah.
your feeling about football in cold weather?
I think I mentioned to you a couple weeks ago that there's a game that always pops into my head when I get a certain feeling and smell in the air. Uh, and it's Independence Richmond game at Independence. And it was kind of disappointing because last Friday night wasn't really a cool, cold night. It was, a warmer night than we normally expect. But yeah, Jim, this is football weather for sure. I'm already looking at my base layer gear that I can wear for Friday night to stay warm.
Yeah,
Uh,
it's supposed to be a little bit warmer here, though. I think the high is supposed to be 63 or so on Friday in the Triangle.
well, I got to look and see. I mean, it's cold. It's pretty cool here right now. I
Oh,
really only,
it's gonna be yeah.
yeah, I only looked at temperature wise. I looked up at Watauga to see what Boone was like, and Boone's going to be pretty cold Friday night. They're going to be in the 30s, probably right around 40 at kickoff, and I think their lows projected for 24.
Oh, that's gonna
So
be bone cold.
yeah, it should get pretty cold up there, I think, as that game wears on. I didn't even look to see what the temperature is going to look like in Charlotte, but
Let's see, Friday is supposed to be a high of 65, and then it's supposed to cool down to I think 37 degrees or so
for you or for Charlotte?
for me.
For you, okay.
I think
And
Garrett's here. Let me see if I can get him on.
well, he's not showing up in his video's not working, so I'm gonna say he's probably not got a good connection. Let's
All right,
see what.
Garrett. If you're here, Garrett, I want you to turn from black to orange. Go. Okay, it doesn't work. Sorry. I was trying to help Bill.
Let's see here. Weather.
But then, it's weird. Tuesday next week, it's 78 degrees here.
Yeah,
So,
I guess this time of year we do see cycling of warm and cool days, but it's 45 here right now, and I think the projection. Let's see if it'll tell me the projection for Friday's going to be about the same thing as you. 64
okay.
high, 36 low. So probably game. That probably means it's going to be in the 50s to 40s during the game.
All right.
Maybe not quite that cold. So maybe I don't need my base layer. Older I get, the more I don't want to fight the cold.
Yeah, I totally get it.
So
Totally.
you went to a game Friday night. Let's just talk about our games.
Okay.
Tell us quickly about your game Friday night.
Well, first thing, it was warm, and I like warm weather. It
Hmm.
was nice and warm. I mean, it was like when I say warm, it's 74, 75 degrees. And before the game, we had three guys that jumped out of an airplane with parachutes. Just want to throw, they're just not like some crazy people like jumping out of airplanes. So let me make sure I did that. So that was pretty cool. And I think the third guy actually had the football. And it was really cool. They pretty much landed around between the 40s in the midfield.
Right.
Just really excellent. So that was a good start and great music, by the way. The band at Clayton High School is among the best. And so we get there, the game starts, and uh, Cleveland gets the ball, or I think Clayton gets the ball. They can't do anything. Cleveland gets the ball, and it looked like the quarterback had stopped. I mean, he looked like the whole crowd of people were there. And all of a sudden, you see something just explode. and that quarterback has the fastest acceleration I've ever seen. And next thing you know, he's like, vroom, he's past me, and he scores a touchdown. So Clayton decides they're going to do the same thing, and their quarterback, great runner, and he moved the ball in there and got a touchdown. And it went. I think it was at halftime. The score was like 14-12,
Right.
Clayton, and those teams are mirror images. Great quarterbacks. Both those guys could easily be Division One talent, and I say that just because uh, you don't see that skill set a lot of times. And the defenses were really good. I mean, it was hard to keep those quarterbacks in bay. The Clayton quarterback might have a little bit better touch on his throws, but they didn't throw that much. So in the first half, it took 55 minutes to get done with the first half, which is great. I love fast games
Right.
like this. They don't throw that much. Uh, Clayton gets the ball. They get a field goal. It was 17-12. Then Cleveland scores a touchdown. It was 20-17, and then it got to, I think it was 27-17. Then it was 27-24, and then Clayton scores a touchdown. They're up 31-27, and Cleveland there were basically a minute and a half left in the game. They get down to the 25-yard line, 2 seconds left. Quarterback goes around, and he's doing some dancing. I mean, he had some of the best dance moves you've ever seen. He put Michael Jackson to shame, and he just lost the ball. Beautiful throw spiral right up there in the corner of the end zone, jump ball, and the guy at the very back was able to get it, the receiver, and came in for a touchdown. Just an incredible atmosphere. Clayton, that game probably had 7,000 to 8,000 people in there.
Mm.
All around it was crowded. Uh, the Something really cool about that field is funded by different people or different municipalities. The town of Clayton did part of it. Part of it was Johnson County. Part of it was a grant from the state of North Carolina. Not only that, they have a better practice field than most people have playing fields. Uh, Beautiful stadium. I mean, just incredible. And Scott Chadwick, the first time I ever seen him coach in a game, and he's a darn good coach. I mean, I'm not
Mm-hmm.
going to say his team was inferior, but I'm going to tell you right now, his team probably played closer to their ceiling than Cleveland did. Cleveland maybe a little bit more talented, I guess, but both teams are very talented. But I became a very big fan of Scott Chadwick, bigger one than I already was.
Yeah. So what you'll find is that as he builds his staff, gets more people in that he can get to come to the program, that program will get better and better and better. That's been the way Scott has been. He was at Marvin Ridge, did a great job of building the program there.
Right.
And they decided they want a different direction. He went to Myers Park. He did a great job there. And Scott decided he wanted to go to college and up to Maryland. And then he came back. So you can expect to see some exceptional play out of them as his career there rolls on.
Right.
Very, very good coach.
Oh yeah, just incredible.
Now
I was really impressed.
I went to see the annual rivalry between Butler and Independence, and that Butler team's a really good team. That Butler team is senior heavy like crazy. I only recognize that by the fact that they did the seniors before the game. They did their ceremony with them, and boy, there were so many players. It was unreal. And Coach Hells even made a comment. He's like, wow, that's a lot of seniors. Something along that effect as he came off from finishing their ceremonies.
Right.
Uh, Butler's a good team. Butler uh, is a complete team on both sides of the ball, offense and defense. They're very physical. They got up 7-0. And if it weren't for mistakes, that game would have just rolled completely out of Independence's control. But Butler's first punt snap, while there was nobody there to um, attack it, they didn't rush, the punter. It was a bad snap. And had they rushed, they'd have probably been able to get that ball. But they did. Butler did have another bad snap, which Independence recovered deep, and they scored off of it. And then Butler had a problems fielding the punt, hit the kid in the chest and bounced out, and Independence got the ball deep and scored off of that. Um, Other than that, the first half was just total domination by Butler. In the second half, Independence changed how they played, and they ran a sophomore running back, number 21. I'm sorry, I don't have his name in my head, but I saw him run and run and run and run. They ran him to death, and they moved the ball and got a touchdown. Uh, but he had to work so hard in the early part of that second half that he ended up getting cramps, and he missed maybe two offensive series as a result as well. And Butler was just overall too much. Daryl said that they could have played better. He could have called better. Um, they understand that they got beat, and well, they're going to have to do the things that they will need to do if they want to face this team in the playoffs. Butler is without question a contender for state championship.
Dale,
Without a
tell me a little
question.
bit more about intangibles, like in this stuff, like when you're talking about bad snaps, and all that.
Hmm.
How crucial do you think it is for a team this late in the year how to address these issues? Because I know, sometimes you have teams that are fine with that one part, like maybe long snap or whatever, and then they go through a rut or something like that. It's just, a, some type of slump. How do you get over that, you think?
This late in the season, at some point in the season, it becomes what it is, and there's not. You should have been doing your repetition of snap, 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 snap to
Right.
get the centered snap down and get the punter fielding the snap properly and to eliminate that. But you're at, the week before going into the playoffs, last game of regular season, and you're still having that issue, then there's not, Jim, there's not anything you can do other than not have to punt. Try to try not to put yourself in a punt situation. Otherwise, I just don't think it's something you can eliminate this late in the game. I know. I remember my son had an issue. He was a great center. He did not long snap. He had a shotgun snap. But his junior year, he had a situation where somewhere in the first quarter, he'd have one errant snap, one, high snap. And that was the matter of getting into your routine and snapping a lot before the game, which unfortunately at that point in time, they weren't doing that. I don't know if it's a similar situation for the long snapper that you just have to make certain that pregame, your long snapper's doing a bunch of snaps, so he's got to get into the routine. That might be something you can do to get over it, uh, or to eliminate it. because it's usually because it's a situation you're not doing a lot, um, and you aren't in the you aren't in the rhythm for the night, if you will. Then things like that can happen. So maybe that's something Butler can do. I heard, well, Gary mentioned on our Spaces Friday night that that was an issue in the early in the season when he saw Butler. So, I don't know. I trust Coach Hales. He knows what he's doing, and I'm sure they're doing whatever they can to work it out, Jim. Just
Right.
I just don't know how you work that out this late in the season, other than pregame snap, 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 snap. Keep him warmed up, um, get his arm and everything in the rhythm. Um, let's see here if we got any. See, we got some people on. Nobody's commented yet.
Got another question about
Yeah,
Butler. Looking at him, I think they got seated as a number 6, if I remember correctly. Yeah,
yeah,
number 6. And I don't get all that hung up about the seedings, to be honest with you. The seeds 1 through 8 to me doesn't matter.
right.
Those are pretty much your conference winners. You can be the best team on your region and be a number 4 or number 5. It doesn't really bother me that much about how it goes in there. But
Hmm.
I know we're talking about it on Talking Preps the other night uh, about having a selection show. If you, what's your feelings about it? You think it should have a human element about who gets selected,
No, I
or
think it needs to be as objective as possible.
thank you? That's what I think too. Because as soon as you put the human element in there, you're just asking yourself for issues.
Exactly. The only thing I would look at is, could we use power ratings, which are based off of objective data, over RPI? Um, Nobody should complain about what happened Friday night, because, or, Weddington getting a number one seed is the reason that came up, because that was really almost known that that was a possibility. I thought it was less of a possibility than it was. I thought there might be a chance, but then when I went back and looked, there was too much of a gap for Weddington to drop an RPI with a loss. Um,
Right.
so uh, it really didn't seem to impact that much. And they're number one. The objective data is to seed off of RPI. You could do, if you remember back years ago, there was that situation. I think it was Richmond and Independence, wasn't it? That were both. No, it wasn't Richmond, and was it Butler and Richmond? And Butler had beaten Richmond, and Richmond got seated above, or something along those lines. It was
Right.
a head to head that had been lost, but they got seated underneath. The loser did. You could try to apply something like, if teams played head to head, but what does that do about the other 6 teams? You're just talking about shuffling 2 teams when you're grouping 8. So you got to use objective data out of that is a
Yeah.
summation of that's equal for all 8 of them. So that's
I
my
still,
thoughts, Jim. I'm
I
okay with
still, yeah, I still like having my idea of having the conference winners being one pool, everybody else in the other pool, well, based on objective data, and then the only thing to be random is having it someone put everybody's name in a hat and do a good old fundraiser dinner.
right.
I- I'm sure the I'm sure the state legislature would be really upset about that.
So that would be, it's not subjective, it's not objective, or it's kind of objective, but
It, it's
yeah, it's
given a
random,
it's given a
right?
it's given a
Chance.
luck factor.
Exactly. Somebody,
Curveball.
though, somebody would complain about that, because they would swear that, well, it's probably going to come from Anson County, to be honest. I mean, I'll just go ahead and speak it. I'm not going to
Yeah.
hide the county that it would come from, but it would probably come from some state legislature over in Anson County that said, well, that guy reached in and purposefully picked Forest Hills or whatever.
Yeah. The people in Anson County, I mean, I grew up in a county that bordered Anson County. Great people. I know Lylesville. I know, Wadesboro, Morven. Great people. The only thing we're talking about is they have a habit of having a snowflake represent them in the North Carolina legislature. And they get their feelings hurt when, Q Tucker or whoever it is says, no, we're actually going to follow the rules that were already set by the members, and Anson or whatever team it is, you can't play.
Yeah.
And, the thing about it is most of us, we might be upset, but we're not going to, pitch a hissy fit and stuff like that. We're not going to be heavy handed. Just call me crazy, but I'm not an insurrectionalist by any stretch of the imagination.
There you go. And that you just nailed it. It's follow the rules, black and white.
Yeah, follow the rules.
If you want gray would have to come next year because we're into the season already, and we've been doing things black and white. So we're going to have to stay doing things black and white.
I mean, not everybody can be crazy like Garrett over here.
Right.
So Garrett's even awake. Gary, you there? Yeah, he's waving. Okay.
Yeah, people can't. Snowflakes. That's the best way to put it. Snowflakes. Jeff says in 20 minutes we can talk potential upsets. Okay, so Jeff, I think that means Jeff may join us in 20 minutes.
Well, I'll tell you what, we can do 1A now if you like to, because I know Jeff's not going to give much on 1A, at least in the East.
Probably not. That would be my thing. So what I'm going to do first, Jim, is I just want people to know when you see my picks that you know that old Dale did this. Dale went out on a limb on some of the games. And so that you know. Now, did I draw this whole thing? No. I let AI generate most of it. I cut the head out, and I have a YouTube channel called Grandpa Technology, and I use that as part of the character on Grandpa Technology. So I just cut that out and pasted it.
You look a little bit more like was it Jesse or was it Jesse from Dukes of Hazzard in the face? What was it? Was it Denver?
The old man? Yeah.
It was. I mean, he looked like a younger version of it, but I'm talking about the eyes and the beard and all that stuff.
I got you.
Was it Denver Powell? Was that his name?
I cannot remember his name.
I gotta pull it up real quick.
So just so people know, Dale went out on a limb.
It's Denver Powell I'm thinking of. Check it out, Denver Powell.
Yeah, exactly. So
it was the beard, though. The beard's what got you more than the eyes and the beard.
When I took that picture, I had a little more beard than I have right now. Sometimes I grow the beard out. Sometimes I don't this time of year. One year I had it well enough that it wasn't real long, but it was good enough that I could pass as a bit of a Santa Claus.
I remember talk about your ZZ Top days. You remember that when you're doing the Eliminator tour? But anyway.
Wish if I had it, I would wear it. Jim, I'm gonna bring up mine. I don't know if you have yours. If you want to just call out what's different for yours than mine.
Yeah, I'll do that.
Guys, before we get started, it just came across the newswire. This ain't really about North Carolina high school sports, but it's about sports in general. The legendary coach Bob Knight, he passed away just a little while ago. It just came across the news a little while.
Bob Knight did.
Yeah, he passed on.
Dale, tell me if you think I'm crazy. I always thought Bob Knight might have been a better football coach than a basketball coach. What do you think?
Oh my goodness!
I think he could have made a really good football coach. He has a lot of Woody Hayes in him.
Yeah.
He and Woody Hayes and was Bob Knight was a student under Woody Hayes. Woody
So
used to teach history.
he had the sternness, the discipline, the
Like
emotion.
I
The
was say the
debate.
motion. He didn't really have discipline himself. He lacked
No, but
self discipline.
he instilled discipline.
Yeah,
That was something Krzyzewski, I think I remember listening to Krzyzewski talk about him, and one of the things that he said was that the discipline that he instilled. No, his own personal discipline.
was
He
lacking.
he might have had it in some aspects, but not to the level that he needed to have it. If he did, he wouldn't be tossing chairs all over the place, would he?
Yeah, though after the 80, I think after the 87 season, after he won, he threw the chair in 84 and wins the national championship 87. He said he was opening up a furniture store, and if you buy a sofa, he'd throw in a chair.
Oh
So,
goodness.
so let's go to your picks. Thank you, Garrett.
Yeah, thanks, Garrett. I had not heard that. Well, Jim, in 1A East, I had no problem doing the first part of it because I took that one all the way down, Tarboro. And I don't know. You tell me if you see any things you would call differently
Let's see.
in the first
Second
round
round,
games.
the first round, Northampton over Hopton, agree. North Duplin definitely over Pamlico. Southeast Halifax over Union, no doubt about it. Rosewood, Washington County. I'm picking Washington County, but that's just I think it's just more emotional more than anything else. I got to pick up.
Okay, I
I'm gonna
understand.
pick Washington County. East Bladen, yes. Northside Pinetown, yeah, they get a.
Yeah, they'll beat the heck out of Bye, I think.
So Wilson Prep, yeah. Gates County, yes. Gates County is a dangerous team. Northmore easily.
Yeah, so I got to say I don't know a lot about Wilson Prep, but I do think they can handle Bye pretty well.
Yeah, I think they can too. Bertie, yep.
Did you did? Okay, I'm sure you agreed with Northmore. I would think.
Yeah, definitely. Lakewood, definitely. Perquimans, and not Perquimans, Garrett, not Perquimans. I'm playing with you, Garrett. Inside joke here.
I know a lot. I know a lot about Perquimans.
Pender definitely over Warren County. Of course, West Columbus. So let's look at your second rounds. We'll start at the bottom. West Columbus, Pender. I've got West Columbus. Perquimans, Lakewood. I'm going with Lakewood in that one.
Okay, that one I thought would be close, but
it's going to be a good one.
Okay, keep going.
Let's see. That second round game between Bertie and Northmore, that's going to be a good one. I think Northmore is going to pull it out, but Bertie has a lot of speed that Northmore hasn't seen. But right. I'll take Northmore on that. Gates County, Wilson Prep. I'm going Wilson Prep. And
I did mark down that I thought that game could be tight, though.
I think you're right. It's going to be a tight one, but I'll do the same thing. Wilson Prep. Let's see here. East Bladen, North Side. I'm going with. I'm actually going to go with East. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. You got the same thing I did. East Bladen.
Yeah.
I think North Side's good, but I don't think they're going to be that good.
Right. I thought that could be a really close game, and I think the two teams are almost equal. So, but East Bladen.
I have Washington County beating Beargrass Charter. Of course, I'll have East Bladen beating Washington County.
Right.
And then let's see the top part here. Oh no, Tarboro is going to win one of them. And let's see, between North Duplin and Southeast Halifax. You know what? Southeast Halifax has a really good offense. North
Mm-hmm.
Duplin loves to pound the ball. Maybe a little bit better on defense, so I'm going to go with North Duplin. But that's going to be a fun game to watch.
Yeah,
And then
I marked down big game. I think that's should be a tight, good football game.
yeah, I agree with you. And then
And then
Tarboro beating, yeah,
ain't nobody gonna beat Tarboro.
and Tarboro easily winning out. Let's see on
Yeah,
the very bottom of that bracket.
bottom half.
Bottom half. Let's see, Northmore. Yeah, Northmore beating Wilson Prep, and then
Mm-hmm.
have West Columbus beating Lakewood.
Yeah, and then
And then
and
that one right here is like between Northmore and West Columbus. I'm
Columbus.
probably going to go with West Columbus on that. That game could really go either way, but I think West Columbus is just a tad bit better. I think Northmore's got to be honest with you. I think after the first round, second round, third round, and potentially the fourth round, they're going to have a tough road.
So I'm from what I'm hearing, the place that we really have a differing is with Lakewood.
Right.
Here at so otherwise we seem to be pretty much
Yeah,
similar.
I'm giving you also. I'm giving you Rosewood. I'm taking Washington County.
Right.
Rosewood's going to beat Washington County. You wait and see, but I like the people down in Plymouth.
I hear you.
So let's go to the east here. Robbinsville definitely. That Mountain Island Charter Allegheny could be a good one, a really good one. Allegheny's defense, which should match up good against Mountain Island Charter. I think Mountain Island Charter is just a little bit more athletic, though. Bessemer City, big over South Stanley. Swain County, all over Avery. Mountain Heritage, easily. Starbout wins. Drawn, yep. North Pro-Am, I agree. East Randolph, big. The Hayesville Cross the King could be a good one. I'm going to take Hayesville, though. Albemarle, easily. Thomasville, easily. Bishop, McGinnis, yep. All that Bishop McGinnis, South Stokes, that's kind of a coin flip to me.
Hey, you know what? It is. And I know people will probably say, huh? That's a 26. But no, that's that. It's not going to surprise me to come back and hear that South Stokes won. But
right. Even that Polk County team, that's a dangerous team, too. That's they're seeded as 23. Murphy's got too much for them, but that's those are two talented 1A teams. Mitchell's struggling a little bit. East Wilkes is struggling. I'll go with Mitchell also. And then Mount Airy beating Mitchell. Murphy all over Bishop McGinnis. Mount Airy will beat Murphy. So we agree everything on the bottom half.
Okay.
And then
how about the Thomasville Albemarle? I picked
Thomasville. I don't think it's going to be that close, to be honest with you.
And then I picked Eastern Randolph, as you can see, to make it down to Mount Airy.
And I have Eastern Randolph. Yeah, we're identical on that, and I have Mount Airy beating Eastern Randolph.
Yep, I do too. So, but I think that's going to be a good football game.
Yeah, I do too.
And then up top here,
and I've got Tarboro winning.
I have Tarboro winning too as well. So all the way out, I've got Tarboro as the champions. I do have North Rowan making it out to the third round.
Oh yeah, let's go back up there and see North Rowan Drawn is struggling right now. They're having trouble on defense. North Rowan should win that game. Mount Heritage, Starmount. I got Mountain Heritage. I also got Mount Heritage beating North Rowan, and you got North Rowan. You got North Rowan.
I do. I've got them going out exactly.
That's going to be a good one.
Yeah, and then Swain County, who I think, that could be a tough one for Mount Airy. But yeah, they're good.
So let's go back to see here. Swain will beat Bessemer, Robbinsville, and Swain will meet in the third quarter. I got Swain beating Robbinsville just like you do. I Robbinsville beat Swain, I think it was last week, 14-8. It's hard to beat a really good team twice.
Exactly. That's going to appear a couple of times in some of my picks, that it's hard to beat a great team 2 times in the season. So
Yeah.
that's why I picked. That's maybe one of the reasons I picked Swain County. Probably the primary reason.
And so you got Swain County is playing. Who's Swain County playing? They're
Swain
playing.
County's playing North Rowan. You have them playing Mount Heritage.
Yeah, I'll give Swain County over Mount Heritage.
Right.
And then Swain County, but versus Mount Airy. I got Mount Airy.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. So we're relatively close. So we have a few differences.
Very few on that.
Very
How about you, Garrett? What's your biggest shock?
Yeah, Garrett.
You got Tarboro losing the second round, don't you?
Ha ha ha.
He's got them losing the bye.
Yeah, that would be fun, wouldn't it?
They can't get.
I don't think everybody in Tarboro like that though. Honestly, I agree with everything you guys are saying. That Tarboro, Tarboro's going to probably make it all the way out to the east. Tarboro, West Columbus sounds like your potential regional championship game there. Yes, out west, y'all pretty much nailed it off the head. That Pamlico North Dukeland game, I think they played each other, if I'm not mistaken, already once this season, and North Dukeland took care of business there. And it's just, frankly, Hopton, Panda, North Dukeland, Rosewood, Lakewood, those teams right there out the main part of the East that I know of, they pretty much can't really handle, a team like Tarboro. When they combine the classifications back from Big A, Little A to everybody, that did kind of take the competitiveness for some of these smaller teams like North Dukeland.
Yeah, it killed North Dukeland in the small.
Yeah, I think they'll have a. I think
really
they'll have a hard time with
the competitiveness out.
Yeah,
but it does set a. It does kind of make it where you actually have an actual champion for 1A, with everybody playing against each other, together. But as far as the small schools, it does kind of take a lot of competitiveness out when you put everybody together. You got a team like Tarboro playing basically 2 to 3A ball here against a team like North Dukeland who has ADM of 300 students.
The problem is we need to have. This is where the splits really was a good thing. In 1A.
Yeah, for the 1A, the splits were probably the best thing, if you ask me.
And maybe 4A as well.
Yeah, 4A was good also.
Yeah, 4A had that issue of the lower half of 4A were really more like 3A schools as far as their competitiveness, etc. for the most part. So
yeah.
Maybe 6 classifications.
I was going to say 6 classifications is the best one. Garrett, just out of curiosity, is North Dukeland, did they run was it the T formation or they run the wishbone, or what kind of offense do they have?
I'm not 100% sure. Maybe wishbone or something. I'm not 100% sure. I ain't seen North Dukeland this year.
I remember when they went to the state championship, I think they were in the wishbone or either wishbone or the T formation.
Yeah, an option offense, as I remember.
That team they did not believe in the forward pass. They did not believe in it whatsoever.
I'm going to switch over to 2A.
Yeah, let's do 2A here.
Right. And I'll zoom in so we can see.
So you got Clinton beating Kinston. Very good one. So I have James Keenan. I think they'll be big over Beddingfield. And let's see here. Let me get down
Well,
on this here.
don't sleep on Beddingfield. I've always wanted to say that because you might not have a pillow for that.
There's Jeff.
Let's
He's
see,
up.
let's see. Cummings over Trask. I got Southeast Alamance big over Martin County.
Oh, you got them big. Okay.
Yeah.
So we
Wallace
differ
Rose
there.
Hill.
I thought about picking them, but okay. I thought it might be a tight game, but all right. Keep going.
Wallace Rose Hill over Green
Yep.
Central. Let's see here. Hertford St. Paul's game is going to be good, but I got Hertford County win that one.
Okay.
Let's see. West Craven over North Pitts. I've got Nash Central all over Roanoke Rapids. Southwest Edgecombe all over Red Springs. Southwest Onslow will beat Farmville Central.
Okay.
And you got Farmville Central winning that game. Whiteville over South Granville. East Duplin over Eastern Wayne. Princeton over Camden. That Lewisburg Northwood game, I've been going back and forth on that one.
Well, you see what I did.
I'm going with Northwood.
I mean,
that was kind of hard for me. That Midway Homes is another one that I'm going back and forth on also. I'm picking Holmes, and then Northeastern over North Johnston.
Okay, and then we'll just go right back up.
Let's see. So I got Northeastern beating Holmes. I got Princeton beating Northwoods.
And what do you have for Northeastern and Princeton? So we're equal, right? Okay, so we're equal there. And then let's scroll on up here.
Sounds like Roanoke is going to have a rapid exit.
Yeah.
Let's see here. That East Duplin Whiteville game is going to be a good one. I mean, I'm going to go with Whiteville on that one. And
okay. I thought about it, but I like East Duplin. I don't know.
Isn't Duplin County like right above Columbus County, where Whiteville is?
Yeah, that's where Garrett's from. He's from that area. You live in Duplin County, don't you, Garrett?
Yeah, I do. Whiteville and that's right there. Columbus County is up there. Is kind of
Whiteville
is below
City.
us. Yeah, it's below us. It's like more going towards like South Carolina area, Jeff.
Yeah, it's next to Robinson County where Lumberton is.
Yeah,
because I've been to Whiteville before heading to the beach.
Yeah, there's a path. That's a path I've taken a few times just to go through Whiteville.
So let's see here. I'm taking Whiteville, and then they have to play the winner. I've got Southwest Edgecombe winning that game, and I have Southwest Edgecombe end up beating Whiteville. And then I got to go with Northeastern over Southwest Edgecombe. That should be. Okay. You got the same thing I do.
I got the same thing there. Yeah, and then
let's see here.
Right on the edge of the comb.
Right.
Let's see here. Nash Central got them beating West Craven. I got Wallace Rose Hill beating Hertford County. Then I got Wallace Rose Hill beating Nash Central. That game could go either way, to be honest with you.
Okay, so there's a differing.
Yeah.
We differ.
Then let's see. Southeast Alamance, they're playing Cummings. Yeah, I've got Cummings winning that game. Cummings beat Southeast Alamance this last week.
Is Southeast Alamance a first-year school?
Yes, it is. It's in Haw River. And Clinton beating James Keenan. Yep, I agree with that. Clinton will beat Cummings. beat them like a redheaded stepchild, and Clinton will beat Wallace Rose Hill, and then Clinton will beat was it Southwest Edgecombe at the bottom.
So in the
I got Clinton winning.
right,
from the
you got
East.
Clinton winning out of the East.
Yeah, I've got Clinton going out of the East.
Got you. So do I.
All right, now the West is going to be fun. I bet you anything. Jeff's going to have some fun with this one also. Reedsville all over Madison. Now, is that Southwestern Randolph? Yeah, Southwestern Randolph, West Oaks. I got Southwestern Randolph winning that game.
Okay.
And Brevard over Trinity, North Stanley over over High Point Andrews, Monroe winning. Yeah, that West Lincoln Chase game, that could be a good one. I think West Lincoln's got too much for them.
And it looks like that'll be the game I'll be at.
That's going to be a good one. That's going to be a good one.
I think you have a good game. This next game might be a good game too, I think.
That Burns Pine Lake Prep, there's going to be a lot of offense in that game.
There should be a lot of offense. You could see some.
I heard Pine Lake Prep's got a very good running back.
They do. That kid, we had him on back a while ago. Had a lot of offense back about 3-4 weeks ago. He had a lot of yards. I forget what his yardage was, but it was.
And then
that's Dave boy.
Tremendous. So that could be a good game, but I picked Burns.
Yeah, I do too. And I think Clunker Hill will beat East Rutherford.
Yeah.
Community School Lexington, that's going to be a good game. I know it's a 3 versus 30, but
it's going to be a close game.
Yeah, I'll go with Community School. I would not be at all surprised if Lexington wins that game.
No.
East Surrey definitely over Providence Grove. Randleman will beat West Stanley. Forest Hills, will beat Anson. Shelby will beat Mount Pleasant. And North Stanley, number 10 should be somebody else, I think. Number 10 should be North Surrey.
Why did I put that there? I had to type that in. I'm not sure why.
He's also the number 9 seed.
So the whole bracket there got messed up. It went when it downloaded. It I don't know what it did there, but it.
Yeah. North Surrey Lincolnton. That game could really go either way. To be honest with you, I'm actually going to go with Lincolnton in that game.
Okay.
Same here.
Maiden East Gaston. I'm going with East Gaston. I think Maiden's kind of struggling right now.
Yeah, I think my thought was that East Gaston might get a little of their mojo back for this game. It's going to get squelched in the second round.
And Salisbury will beat East Davison, and Salisbury will beat East Gaston. So Salisbury go to the third round. Lincolnton, Shelby will beat Lincolnton.
Yeah, I think
and then between Shelby and who's the bottom part of that?
So Shelby and Salisbury.
Oh, I'm going with Shelby on that one. I'll take Shelby.
I did too. I went with Shelby.
Let's see. So,
Forest Hills and Randleman.
Yeah, I'm going with Forest Hills on that one. And I'm going with East Surrey on that one.
Okay.
I think East Surrey will win that. And then Forest Hills will beat Community School of Davison.
Yeah.
And
so
then
I picked Shelby to beat Forest Hills.
Where's Monroe in this?
Well, Monroe is supposed to be Monroe would be the next opponent West Lincoln would face, I think.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, Monroe's at the top. Okay, I got you there.
Yeah, up top.
Okay. So, I got Shelby in the bottom part.
Right here.
And then let's see here. So let's go to Clunker Hill Burns. I got Burns winning that game. You got Bunker Hill.
I do.
That's going to be a good one. Monroe, Monroe easily.
Yeah.
And then Monroe will go to the fourth round.
Yeah.
Let's see, North Stanley, Brevard. I will go with Brevard on that one. That's going to be a good one. And Reesville will beat Southwest Randolph. Reesville will beat Brevard. And then Reesville versus Monroe. That to me should be the East regional game. I'm going with Monroe.
Yeah, I went with Monroe
and
too.
Monroe and Shelby. You know what? I'm going with Monroe on that. So I think Monroe's the best team, but
Right.
Salisbury is going to be a good one. And then the final, I got Clinton over Monroe, believe it or not.
Okay. So, yeah, I picked Monroe all the way.
Okay.
So, we'll see what.
Didn't Forest Hills and Anson County used to be a rivalry?
Yeah,
Yes.
and they still are. I think they still are because they've played a lot throughout the years. I don't know if it's the rival game it used to be, but
I asked somebody this one time. I said, isn't this how it goes in Anson County that you mention Forest Hills, you get laughed at. You mention Richmond, you probably get punched at.
Yeah, it's interesting though. It's like Richmond is to the east of Anson County, and Marshville is right basically on the border of Union and Anson County. It's in Union County, but
right, it's right there.
Forest Hills. If you go to Marshville though, just make sure you have your shots because you're going to see a lot of chicken feathers.
I've been in those plants. So.
Oh gosh, you go on Highway 74. It used to smell like chicken
turkey
manure
too.
everywhere you went.
Turkey. Also processing out there. Yeah. Yeah, I've been in those plants. All those chicken plants along 74 there.
How about you, Gary? Been to a chicken plant before?
Yeah, I've been around some. We've got chicken plants all over the place down here.
Well, you're probably
chicken plants, turkey plants.
You're more about hog lagoons down where you are.
Yeah, hogs. Yeah, definitely hogs.
Yeah, I've been in a hog slaughterhouse too.
Processing. Where I grew up was more cows because we're utterly cool. But
I remember when we had gut spilled all over our highway.
If we can go back to the 2A bracket right quick, guys, I want to kind of give my little 2 cents worth on it.
All right.
Out there in the East, let's look at the East first. You got Clinton going up against Kinston. That's going to be a no-brainer there. Clinton's going all the way on that one. James Keenan, Bedingfield, that's going to be tight. James Keenan's been more of a first-half team this year, and they've kind of been having some issues in the second half in a lot of their games. But if they put together a full game, they might be able to do something against Bedingfield. Cummins, Trask, that's going to be Cummins. Martin County, Southeast, Alamance. I'm going to have to kind of go with you guys with Southeast on that one. Wallace, Queen Central, Wallace. Hertford, St. Paul's, that's going to probably be your game of the week here out of this bracket. I'm going to have to go kind of crazy here and give it to St. Paul's on that one.
See, I thought about that too. That's going to be a good one.
West Craven, North Pitt, West Craven, North Central, Roanoke Rapids. It's going to be a very rapid out for Roanoke, United Central. Edgecombe and Red Springs, that's going to be Southwest Edgecombe. Southwest Edgecombe's always been a very decent football squad. Farmville, Southwest Onslow. That's going to be a tight one, too. Southwest has improved a lot compared to what they've been in the past few years. Their program is steadily on the rise now, it seems like. So that's going to be close. And I'm going to have to go with Southwest on this one. They seem more tested, more battle proofed. Whiteville, South Granville, Whiteville, East Steuben, Eastern Wayne. Eastern Wayne's can give them a little bit of fit for the first couple of quarters, but East Steuben's going to pull it off. Princeton, Camden, Princeton, Lewisburg, Northwood, Midway, Holmes. That's going to be another closey. Midway's been known to put some points up on the board, as y'all seen this year.
Yeah.
And Holmes has been a pretty good point differential team too. I got to give the nod to Midway on that one. Northeastern, North Johnston, Northeastern, and then going in the second round, Northeastern and Midway, Northeastern. Let's see, Northwood, Princeton on that one. Eastern, East Dublin, Whiteville. That's a good one. That's going to be a toughie. Both teams have had some strong schedules.
So go ahead.
This year,
So go ahead and finish out on that bottom part. Then Princeton and Northeastern.
Okay. I'm gonna have to give that one to Northeastern. I'm giving Northeastern the shot all the way to the regional final.
Okay. All right.
East Steuben, East Steuben is gonna East Steuben and Whiteville. That could be the end for East Steuben there. Honestly, cause their common opponent is James Keenan. East Steuben kind of struggled a little bit against James Keenan at first, and then they kind of pulled away. Whiteville PT blew James Keenan from the other side of the tracks. So Whiteville was going to probably give it to East Steuben this year. Southwest Edgecombe and Onslow. I'm gonna have to give Onslow that one. And then Onslow, Onslow and Northeastern. And again, like I said, Northeastern's probably gonna run it all the way to the regional finals. At the top bracket, Nass Central, West Craven. I'm gonna have to give it to Nass Central there. Wallace, Wallace and St. Paul's. That's gonna be a good one. The common opponent again was Clinton on that one. And both games was PFT, not almost a no contest. Wallace has improved a lot though since the death gauntlet in the first couple of weeks of the season. But I'm going to have to give that one to Wallace. Who would I say? Alamance and Cummins up there. Clinton and James Keenan. That's kind of like an old rivalry game there. But of course, James Keenan's going to see the season end in the second round anyway.
Oh, Clinton's going to be Mike Tyson, and James Keenan's going to be Michael Spinks.
Yeah, it's going to be Clinton, Mike Tyson, James Keenan going to be Mike Mac.
I think Clinton's going to march.
Yeah. Clinton's Cummins, Clinton. I pretty much got Clinton going all the way into the East Regional anyway. I mean, now Nash Central, Wallace. That's going to be a rematch of last year's third round. And again, it's probably going to end up being, probably going to be Wallace. It's going to be probably another one of those back and forth games. But I see Clinton and Wallace going against each other. But Clinton, of course, is going to
That was
gonna
Brazil
roll on.
National Central game is going to be a good one, though. Golly, it's going to be.
Yeah.
I'm with you, Garrett. I'm picking Wallace Rose Hill, but I could, Dale makes a very good argument. Wallace National Central will win that game, so it's going to be a fun one.
I think it'll be a good ball game. I believe it. Everybody's path ends when they click into Clinton.
Yeah, I mean,
Sounds like
Clinton's
Clinton's
got a good chance to go to state this year.
Yeah, I think so. They got a good chance to win state.
Northeastern,
So I think Monroe wins it, but
I think Clinton's going to state this year anyway, so that kind of has to spoil on that Clinton Northeastern regional final game.
I might actually go to the Nash Central Wallace Rose Hill. If that game actually comes to fruition, I might go over to Rocky Mountain and watch that game.
That
be a good football game.
Be a good one. Now out there in the West, guys, Regional looks like they're gonna march on through for a good while. We're going all the way up there for Regional. I see Regional kind of marching all the way through.
Yeah.
And then in the regional final for the West, I see Shelby and Regional in the regional final.
So you think Regional's going to beat Monroe?
Yeah. But barely.
Okay.
And it could be Shelby and Regional in the regional final, in my opinion. And I see a Clinton and I actually see Clinton and Shelby this year instead of Clinton and Regional.
Okay.
Something's telling me Shelby, they've been taking lickings, but they kept on ticking. So I really see Shelby and Clinton in the state championship. And
well, Shelby took a licking because they played some really good teams.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Same thing with Wallace when Wallace played Harvard, Havelock, Clinton.
So Jeff can
Harvard got beat half to death.
Jeff, can Shelby make it?
But they also play tough against Harvard and Havelock. And we go and look at Havelock and Harvard here shortly. All those teams that Wallace lost to are in the top 4 or 5 in each of their respective brackets. Number 1, Clinton. Number 1, Havelock. Number 3 or 4, Harvard? I mean, the same path as Shelby. So yeah, I see Clinton and Shelby.
So go ahead, Jeff.
Big time.
What do you think?
Shelby, when I saw them play against East Gaston, over a week ago, nearly 2 weeks ago now, the fans voted, and so that's a game I went to, and man, it wasn't even a game. Shelby blew the doors off of East Gaston. Shelby's just got a lot of speed, man, and I watched Shelby against Kings Mountain earlier this year. Then I watched Shelby against East Gaston. Shelby is definitely much, much improved since their 0-3 start, and now I'm just thinking, will the fans get off of the coach's back now if he brings home a state title? And
yeah, but you can't get on his back because, like you say, you saw him play Kings Mountain. So Kings Mountain is a team that can compete with and beat over the majority of 4A teams.
I get that. Saying some of the fans and I read some of these boards were ready to run him off, and I'm like, slow down, folks. I mean, he won you guys a state title or two, so
right.
Those fans are on the boards a lot of times. They just need to be discounted anyway.
Kings Mountain. It's hard to lose to Kings Mountain because that's an county rival. But Kings Mountain is physically, that's a different kind of team than Shelby.
Yeah, it's a huge difference. And the one thing I was going to say, though, the only loss that he's had the last 2 years that was borderline really bad was I think he got beat 42-0 by Burns last year in the playoffs. That was an ugly loss.
Well,
everything else, I could. If I was a Shelby fan, I'd just take it.
Right.
Well, they had some players suspended from that game, if I remember correctly, and that didn't help.
Yeah.
So just looking it over, Jeff, I got Shelby going to the regional final. I've seen Monroe. Monroe is just unreal with speed and athleticism, and they are another 2A team that could beat a large number of 4A schools. So I find it difficult. I would not, let me rephrase that. If they meet, and if I'm right and they lose, they lose to a very, very good team. I'm talking about Shelby. So Shelby makes it to the regionals. That's a really good season. But they, of course, every fan wants a championship, right?
Yeah, they're spoiled.
They're spoiled. The Lions.
Building Reese will pretty much, their fans will pretty much want those types of fans that expect championships each year. So yeah, they pretty much expecting championships out of them two schools, just like Thomasville and Albemarle back in the old 20, 2010, 20,
back in
2000s
the
and
2000s.
2010s. Yeah.
Early part of 2000s, middle part of the 2000s. It's not just that. It's the fact that Shelby kind of has slumped a little bit. Not talking about this season. So people start getting real antsy when those things happen, especially last season's ending and etc. It's those Shelby fans are a different breed without question.
I heard Richmond used to be worse.
Richmond?
Yep.
Well, we're going to talk about Richmond here in two classifications, so we can talk about that too. Jeff, the other thing, and I picked Burns going out in the second round. I think Jim had him going to the third round. Can Burns make it to the third round? Can they make it to the fourth?
I honestly think they might be able to, because I feel like early on they were a little bit more battle tested, playing teams like Crest and Kings Mountain, and of course they had that shootout with East Gaston, and then of course they basically got steamrolled by Shelby. I'm just not seeing too many teams on Bunker Hill's schedule that can match up to a Crest, a Kings Mountain, or a Shelby. And that's kind of, I give the strength of schedule edge to Burns, and that's usually who I go with at this point in the season. That's kind of why I think Burns could slip past Bunker Hill. But, I know Bunker Hill's also riding some emotion too, because a legendary coach of Bunker Hills passed away last Friday, and they, I think they feel like they got something extra to play for. So it's going to be kind of an interesting turn of events right there to see who has the bigger edge.
All right.
As far as that goes.
And you said you're going to the West Lincoln Chase game.
That's where the fans are going to send me, because I punted this week.
Why? All right, so you didn't want to go to a game, is what I'm hearing. You didn't have a game that you wanted to go see that you felt was better. I think that'll be a good football game, quite honestly. I picked West Lincoln, but I I'm not thinking West Lincoln's going to roll through that game, so you might see a good football game.
And they are 3-0 when I come and watch them. So
Okay, well, they want you there then, I guess. But okay, I just want to make certain, Jeff, you're
Good luck,
going to
Charm.
games you want to see too.
trust me, I wouldn't put games on there that I thought were going to be absolute runaways. And I also threw Mountain Island Charter in there with their game and Bessemer City with their game because those are teams I haven't covered yet this year. But I chose West Lincoln to be in that poll too because I figured that'd be a good game. And
Okay. All right, so you didn't want to drive up to Statesville and watch South Point play, or nothing like
my
that.
call's being funny lately. So
I hear you. All right, well let's jump over to 3A. A lot happening in 3A, I think.
Oh yeah.
So my brackets, Jim, I started having problems, as you saw, with the non-completion of part of the 2A West bracket. So I just switched to drawing lines in Adobe. And so here we go. Let me get it a little more zoomed in.
That's good right there.
Okay.
So I got Havelock beating Dixon. I got Cape Fear beating Western Alamance. White Oak over Rose. Person over North Brunswick. I think that's going to be I'm going out on a limb on that one.
Okay. Well, I went out on the limb on Rose.
Okay, you did on Person also. You got Person over North Brunswick.
I did. Yes, I did. Didn't I tell you I had 24 and 25 playing each other?
There you go. I think that's a good one. I think that's a good one.
So, is it going to happen? I don't know. But Jeff didn't see this, so I'll show it later. Dale out on a limb. Right.
Scott,
I saw that picture.
Did you see it?
Yes.
Okay. All right,
Scott,
Jim, I'm sorry.
I have Scotland over Rocky Mount. Eastern Alamance over Southern Durham. Northern Nash over Richlands. Southern Nash over Croatan. Southern Alamance over Orange. Jacksonville over CPA Cook. Terry Sanford over Vance County. I don't think is even going to be that close either.
Really? So I put a wavy line there because this is one where I was questioning myself.
Right.
That so that's what the wavy line is. I couldn't write in big game or those other things unless I moved into another editor. So that wavy line means I'm up and down. I was up and down about it. I'm trying to pick some upsets here and there, and so there you go. That's why I picked Vance County.
We'll have plenty to pick in 4A.
Then, like West Carteret, I'll take them over Harnett Central.
Okay, so we agree.
Fike over Southern Lee.
I didn't finish these. Oh my gosh! So I would pick Southern Fike. I'm sorry. Keep going. Fike, I got to fill those in.
That Currituck County South Johnston, that game could really go either way. I'm gonna go with South Johnston on that one.
Okay.
I don't think Currituck's all that good. And I'll take I'm gonna take Hunt over Williams, and then I'll take
trying to circle
71st
Hunt right now, but I don't have the side to do. I can enable the drawing.
And then I'll take 71st over Triton. Then I'll take 71st over Hunt. Let's see here. Fike over South Johnston.
Okay.
Let's see here. Terry Sanford over West Carteret, and Southern Alamance over Jacksonville. Stay in that bottom half there.
Right.
Let's see. That Jacksonville. I'm gonna take Jacksonville over Terry Sanford, and then I'm gonna take 71st over Fike, and then 71st over Jacksonville. So I got 71st going to the
I have
final.
71st going as well. However, I've got Southern Alamance advancing to 71st.
Oh wow, gotcha. Yeah, that's a possibility. I think that's a definite possibility. I have Southern Alamance.
Well, you have them going out. And Jackson, you have to have them going out.
Jacksonville.
Yeah.
There you go. And then let's see on this the bottom half or the top half is to say, let's see here. We'll start at the top.
Start at
I
the
have
top.
Havelock over Cape Fear, but that's going to be a good one.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to go with Havelock just because of the non-existent home field advantage.
Yeah.
Fear the cat.
That White Oak, I got White Oak beating Rose. I'll have White Oak beating Person, and then between Havelock and White Oak, I'd take Havelock. Okay. Then you got
so
Scotland.
We're the same, really. We just differed here in the game one.
Yeah,
but
exactly.
our results of that winner equal out. So.
Yeah, exactly.
Sounds like that'll be a heartbroken person after the game.
Which one? Oh, yeah.
Scotland over Eastern Alamance. That Northern Nash, Southern Nash game, that could go either way. I'm going to go with Northern Nash on that one. I like what Cam said the other night. And so I'll take between Southern Nash and Scotland, I'll take Scotland. And then Havelock versus White Oak, I got Havelock. And then Havelock versus Northern Nash, I'm going to go with Havelock. And then I have 71st beating Havelock.
Okay.
Okay, well, you got it pretty similar.
Yeah, I have 71st also beating Havelock, exactly.
Okay.
It's going to be an interesting West, I think.
Oh, West is just going to be crazy. Crest over Parkwood, Statesville, South Point. You know, when's South Point going to show up this year?
Well, so this game, on paper, the two teams are relatively close. I think South Point might have a little bit of an edge, but this is not the South Point team that we saw even last year that lost to East Lincoln. This is not the
South Point. South Point has been very mercurial this year. They've and I've followed them enough, even though I've covered only one of their games, I've followed them enough to know that, they are great at home, but mercurial on the road. They gave Crest all they could handle, but then they lose to Hunter Huss before that, and then they barely get past the struggling Forest View squad, a couple weeks ago. I mean, Forest View was up by 11 before South Point had to rally. So if that South Point team shows up at Statesville wins by 1 or 2 touchdowns. But if the same one that showed up to give Crest a game or, beat the dog mess out of Ashbrook and North Gaston, then that South Point would win over Statesville by 1 or 2 touchdowns. So, but which one shows up, that's a mystery.
So for me, I thought it was. I'm picking South Point by 1 score. Is what
I think South Point has a higher ceiling than Statesville, and I'm gonna go with South Point too. It's like, when are they going to finally show up? Is it going to be in November? Because I think they just haven't done what they can this year, and
right.
That, like Jeff said, they gave Crest all they needed to for basically 42 minutes. So I'm going to take South Point in that one. West Charlotte over Northeast Guilford, although I'm going to tell you right now, Sam can't overlook those guys over McLeansville. They're good.
Right.
High Brighton, Tuscola, that game
can go either way.
That could really go either way. I'm kind of leaning towards Tuscola, but I'm going to go with High Brighton on that one.
Okay, I almost circled Tuscola when I was doing this. So it wouldn't shock me if you said Tuscola.
J.M. Robinson, I'll take them over North Davison. Northwest Cabarrus over West Rowan. Let's see here. Eastern Guilford over Central Davison, yep. and Dudley over West Iredell. So going down a little bit here, West Henderson over Irwin. Ledford East Lincoln, that game could really go either way. I think Ledford's just a little bit better than East Lincoln. I think East Lincoln might be a little bit dinged right now.
I think that'll be a good game, Jeff. I was thinking this would be a good game too. Just thinking of other. I don't know if it was on your list. But.
Well, I think that's at Ledford. So I mean,
that's a little more of a drive. Yeah, it is at Ledford. Yes, that's right.
The Oak Grove will be all over Ashbrook. That Pisgah North Henderson game, that could really go either way. I'm gonna go with North Henderson in this game. I just think Pisgah might be a little bit more lucky this year than they are good.
That's not a shocker to me, even though it's different for me.
Yeah. AC Reynolds over North Gaston, Kings Mountain over Smoky Mountain. They're going to win the mountain contest. North Lincoln, Rockingham County.
That should be a good one.
That's going to be a really good one. I'll take North Lincoln.
Okay.
And Hickory.
Did you know that did you know that Rockingham is unbeaten on the road?
I did not know that.
I actually checked their schedule when I saw that they were 7-3. I'm like, man, this will be a better game than even I thought it would be. And then when I saw that Rockingham was unbeaten on the road, I'm like, this could North Lincoln could have their hands full in this game.
See, that proves there's no such thing as home field advantage.
If you've ever been to Wentworth,
if I could snicker, I would.
Yeah, I was going to say, if you've ever been to Wentworth and over in Rockingham County, you can understand why a home field advantage really wouldn't. Why Alex Bass's message about home field advantage, why they would believe him. It's not a home field advantage.
Hang on one second. I see that we got a question, and I'm sorry I just saw it. If we've gone over to a West, we have.
Yes.
But if you have any questions, please throw them up, and I will come back and look, and we will answer them. Okay, Jim.
Let's see. So I got Hickory beating Huss. Hickory will beat North Lincoln. Kings Mountain, AC Reynolds. Dang, that's going to be a good one.
Yeah, but
that is going to be a really good one. I'm going to go with Kings Mountain on that one, but that's going to be a good one. And then Hickory Kings Mountain, I'm going to go with Kings Mountain on that one also.
Yeah, I did too. And if you see that kind of
slice,
my little slice line here, that means it could be a razor edge close game is what I meant by that. That little slice means. But I did pick Kings Mountain like you.
Okay. And last year, I drank all the Big South Kool-Aid and my pick'ems. This year, I got all the Gaston County teams except for Bessemer City and Mountain Island Charter going down in the first round.
Wow.
Except for South Point too. I mean, that's
So the next quarter in here, I got Oak Grove over North Henderson. I got West Henderson over Ledford.
Yep.
Got West Henderson over Oak Grove.
Okay.
So West Henderson versus Kings Mountain.
Kings Mountain. Yep.
I'm gonna go with Kings Mountain on that one. So I think Kings Mountain goes to the regional finals.
Okay, we're equal there.
So I think Kings Mountain, AC Reynolds game, that might decide who gets to the.
That will decide this half of the bracket.
They'll decide that half.
That's going to be a really good game.
And the one thing that's on AC Reynolds' side on this, I just forgot, is that they have home field advantage. Go to Fairview. That's
I've been to that stadium 2 times in the playoffs. I know what it's like up there. There's definitely some home field advantage up there.
Asheville Central Rentals.
So the top part here, let's go here. Dudley, Eastern Guilford. Gosh, I might go to that game. That'd be fun to watch. Dudley will beat that game. Should win that one. Robbinsville and Northwest Cabarrus. Those two teams played pretty tight. Neither one played the best game. I'm going to go with J.M. Robinson.
Yep.
And then I have Dudley beating J.M. Robinson.
Okay, we're equal on that.
Yeah. And let's see here. West Charlotte, I'll have them beating High Brighton. And then Crest, I have them beating South Point. I cannot go on a limb and say South Point will beat Crest.
No,
I just don't see that.
No.
Crest versus West Charlotte. It's kind of weird. My brain tells me that it's going to be Crest that wins that game. My heart says it's going to be West Charlotte. I'm going with West Charlotte in that one. I think West Charlotte will end up going to beating Crest on that.
So my thought on that, Jim, is that if West Charlotte does win that game, and it depends on which West Charlotte team plays.
I'm going to go.
I think we'll know certainly at the High Brighton game if they'll have a chance at Crest. But if they're rolling and they're back to where I think they need to be mentally, they'll go all the way. But okay, so you picked them. You picked them to go against Dudley.
Yeah, I think Dudley's going to win. I think that's where the glass slipper falls off. But I do think Sam is very focused right now. That's one thing you have to look at with the coaches here. With Sam is a very focused coach, and he can see a lot more of the field than a lot of people can. He can see he's a big picture guy.
Mm-hmm.
You agree with that?
Yeah, I agree. Now I'm just saying hi to Carrie. She just said hi.
Okay.
And we got a question about first of all, said we skipped Hickory. We hit Hickory. We think both. I'm scrolling it down.
I got Hickory was going to the third round. I think we said Kings Mountain beats Hickory, didn't we?
Exactly. So I got Hickory.
I thought it was going to be a very close one.
A razor edge. There's my razor's edge right there. Hickory and Kings Mountain will be a razor edge game if that happens. Kings Mountain's got to get through ACR. That's not going to be an easy game. That'll be a very, very good game. It will be up in the mountains.
I think AC Reynolds, Kings Mountain, and Hickory. I mean, those are three powerhouses right there.
Exactly. Oh, so Jim, for those that don't know, while Kings Mountain, there is a mountain named Kings Mountain. The school is not on the mountain. It's beside the mountain, basically. So it's not in the mountains.
But they are still king of the mountain.
They're king of the mountain. So going up to Asheville to ACR is truly a mountain journey. Not quite like the teams in 4A are going to see going to Watauga, but it's a mountain journey.
And this is my thoughts about this. If I was Hickory, I'd rather play AC Reynolds than I would Kings Mountain. I think they can beat AC Reynolds. I think for whatever reason, I think Kings Mountain just might be a little bit more physical than Hickory. I think AC Reynolds is a better matchup because I think Hickory is more athletic than AC Reynolds. So,
Jim, when I was looking this part of the bracket over, I thought about, because one of my thoughts was that, well, ACR can win this game. And so I think that bottom part of the bracket here is Hickory's to own out of those four teams. They're by far the best. And I might have picked Hickory to beat ACR if ACR beats Kings Mountain. Football's about matchups. And I might have picked Hickory to win that game, but since I picked Kings Mountain to win it, I think there might just be a little more physicality to get through with Kings Mountain. So
Oh, Coach Glass loves it when you pick against them.
Well,
No, we're gonna get them to the third round. So after that, we'll let them know
exactly.
if by the third rounds if they're playing something like North Gaston or whatever. North Gaston wins the next two games. We'll punch Hickory's card to the fourth round. But
That's right. And we will get to the question on Community School of Davidson in just 1 second. Let's finish this bracket up.
One thing I was going to say though, that Smoky Mountain Kings Mountain game.
Yeah.
I'm going to tell you right now that game might surprise people. Smoky Mountain can be very. They can almost lull you to sleep on that. So don't be surprised if Smoky pulls up an upset. And that would be an upset if they win that game.
Right. I would say
the only way Smoky Mountain beats Kings Mountain, I think, is if Kings Mountain is still pouting over that loss to Crest, and I don't think they are.
Gotcha.
Yeah, it was a pretty nasty loss, though. But yeah.
Well, I mean, in the third quarter, it was actually a close game. I mean, Kings Mountain cut it to 19-14, and then a kickoff return for a touchdown after that made it 26-14 at the end of the third, and then fourth quarter, I mean,
floodgates.
Kings Mountain just couldn't stop them.
The floodgates opened up. Crest has got an offense. They have got a huge statement offense. So,
see, that's one thing I like about West Charlotte against Crest. I don't know if Crest has played a defense as good as West Charlotte.
Well, Kings Mountain.
That's what I'm going to say. Kings Mountain's got a good defense. So,
do they?
And Natavius Husky, he's an athlete, man. He can run it or he can sling it all over the field. I got to see that firsthand Friday.
It's hard, Jim, to say because I don't know. West Charlotte's defense has shown to be good this season, but I gotta say Kings Mountain's defense is really good too. So it's not a Huff defense or a Butler defense, but it's a pretty darn good defense. So we got in the finals, Jim.
Dudley is on the top for me, and the bottom I had Kings Mountain, and I'm taking Dudley.
Okay.
And then between 71st and Dudley, I'm taking 71st.
So
I'm picking all East this year.
Right. So I took Crest and Kings Mountain to the regional finals, and I've got 71st and Crest going all the way, and I'm picking Crest. So we differ. This is one where we differ.
I'll tell you what, if we're exactly the same on 3A, there's something wrong with the two of us because there are just too many obstacles or too many variables in 3A. I think there's like 20 teams that could probably end up in the regional finals.
Yeah, I could set this bracket aside and then do another one tomorrow and not look at this one, and I probably will have a different bracket.
Right.
In places. Some of the places no, but some of the places, yeah. We had a question about Community School of Davidson, so I'm going to flip back if he's still looking. And I actually gave them a decent run. And if I think about this tomorrow or Friday, this might change because there are games like East Surrey that I think will be very close. I personally think will be close, but I gave it to Community School of Davidson. It's hard. It was hard for me to pick against Forest Hills here. I don't remember what all factors I used to make me choose Community School of Davidson.
Well, Community School in Davidson and Forest Hills, I think they played earlier on in the season. I think that was a non-conference game.
It may be what I don't know.
It was a
Is that
close
what
game. It was something. It was like
Is
a
that what I
21-14.
used? And was that one of my other hard to beat? A good team twice kind of deal? I don't know.
Let me pull up their schedule. They beat Forest Hills beat Community School Davidson 21-14.
Yeah, so I that's one of my. It's hard to beat a good team twice selections. When it came down to games that I felt like were close, Jim, I used the following criteria to decide who I would pick. I used heart. If I had a care for a team, then I went ahead and picked it as if I was a fan. I looked to see if they had played each other and how did that game go, and then pick the other team because I felt like a close game, beating a good team twice in the same season kind of deal. And then if neither one of those things came up, I either flipped a coin or I took a second and looked at their power rankings and picked the team with the higher power ranking. I really, I know none of it's real hugely scientific, but
Yeah.
some of these close games, it's hard to say. And honestly, Jim, though I think Randleman does not beat Forest Hills, I could see something happening there.
That's going to be a decent game. I think Forest Hills will. I think they just have too much depth on power and strength, and
I think so. I didn't have to think hard on this game, but it did cross my mind that,
yeah,
well, Friday night, and it's probably going to be I don't think it'll be a blowout game. Watch it be a blowout game.
When I was growing up, though, Forest Hills, we never, I mean, they always had great football teams, but they weren't always very athletic. They were just strong.
Uh-huh.
They were some of the strongest teams you ever seen.
Yeah, so
I mean, they had athleticism, but it wasn't standout athleticism, but just strength. Golly, they're strong.
Bob Cameron, Paul Cameron in Delano Little with WBTV, they used to fly the helicopter around, deliver, player of the week stuff. And they were always, there was a time they were going to Concord a lot to see highlight Andre White and quarterback at Concord. And they were going down to Forest Hills a fair amount too. We were seeing a lot of Forest Hills back then.
Right.
So 3A is going to be interesting. Jeff, who do you think is going to win 3A?
I think I think whoever wins the 3A West wins the title. I think that's got to be between Dudley and Crest. Whoever wins that game, I feel like wins the state title. And I haven't seen Dudley play, but I know they are a very, very athletic team. But I have seen Crest play, and man, they are very, very dangerous. And that defense that we criticized early on this year, saying they got no defense, well, that defense generated 3 takeaways in the first half.
Can you
So
see?
if they play like,
Can you see the screen?
have
you been seeing?
Yeah,
have you been seeing what I've been doing here? What about that?
Yes.
What about that team?
What about what team?
Well, if you can see the screen, hopefully it's still up on the screen. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's still up.
So
it's still up.
So I picked Crest to win too, but this team right here, the one that I'm highlighting, drew the extra square around, couple of arrows pointed at in the bottom left of the screen, 71st.
71st.
Yeah. You don't think I think they have a shot at winning it. I'm today picking Crest. Friday or 2 weeks from now, I could be picking 71st, but today I'm picking 71st. I'm picking Crest. only because I think they just have such a dynamic offense that it's going to be hard for teams to stop them.
If if I was seeing it on my computer instead of my phone, yes, I'd be able to see it a little bit better. But
Okay, well, it's 71st is the team I was pointing out. I think they are going to, and Jim does too, think that they will be in the finals. Though Jim thinks Dudley will be in the finals, and I think Crest. And sounds like you think Crest or Dudley. So we all are on a similar page, and then Kings Mountain could finally get over the hurdle. Man, there's just so many little things that can happen. ACR can have a good run. They're a good team. They can have a run. Hickory may be better than we're giving them credit for, and they just this Razor Edge game I called might not be a Razor Edge game, and they blow Kings Mountain out of the water.
And that other team, would that be their 71st appearance in the title?
One thing I'm positive of, we haven't had 71 NCHSAA championship games.
Oh,
I can say that. Right.
When my mother was, I was talking to my mom earlier on today, and she said that when she was in high school, she was a majorette for Southern Pines High School, and one of their biggest competitions back then was 71st. 71st used to be a single A team. Back when there was only A, 2A, and 3A. There weren't 4 classifications, and 71st for a long time was a 4A school. So,
yep.
All right. Well, let's take a look at 4A. Oh boy, there's some good football games, good football teams.
This is gonna be good.
All right, Jim.
I got Roseville winning that game easily. Yeah. Gardner, Wake Forest. I'm gonna tell you right now, Wake Forest is probably still picking up their teeth from that loss against Roseville. I'm gonna go with Gardner on that. Gardner is a physical team.
See my Razor Edge right there.
Yeah, I see that.
Okay, so I thought that it would be a close game. All right, keep going.
Jack Brett over Fuquay. Ashley over Pine Forest. I agree with that. Cardinal Gibbons. Yep, I'll take that. Millbrook easily. Agree with that. That Clayton Southview game could be easy or good game for a half, but I do take Clayton winning that one. Pinecrest easily over South Gardner. I agree with that. And are we at the okay? There we go. Hoggard all over Chapel Hill. Yep. The Holly Springs Jordan game. I'm gonna go with Jordan on that one. I've seen both teams play. Neither team, to be honest with you, has played that close to their potential.
Right.
I just think Jordan has a little bit more than Holly Springs. Friendship.
If you see my little Razor Edge there.
Razor Edge on that, yeah.
Yeah, a little bit wider Razor Edge, but yeah, that's why I did an up-down. But anyway.
Friendship, I agree with that. Laney will be all over Middle Creek. Hillside, New Hanover, I'm going to tell you right now, I think I'm going to pick up New Hanover in that game.
Okay.
That's going to be a close one, though. New Bern will beat Apex. That's interesting. A lot of people think Leesville Raven will walk all over Richmond. I've got Richmond winning that game too, and that's the reason why I'm going to this game. I'm going to go to Richmond.
You said that. I think you're going to see a good ball game. I think I got a Razor Edge slice there on it. I think it's going to be a highly competitive game.
And thank goodness it's a 7:00 game. 7:30 games are the pits.
Yeah, so I'm not. This is unusual because the NCHSAA normally does 7:30,
right?
But now we're at 7, so that's good. I'm glad. I don't. But anyway, so they games are at 7:00.
Well,
According
some of them
to,
are 7:30s too.
I thought
Like the
they
quick,
all had. Yeah, see, this one says 7:30, but they all are supposed to be at the same time across the state.
see, I thought so too. It's
I didn't realize there were some 7:30 games, but now I see Cleveland Grace Creek is
I like
7:30.
I like getting home early. And Cleveland over Grace Creek, I'll take that.
Mm-hmm.
That Richmond County Cleveland game, I'm sorry, Road or Magic doesn't exist this year. Cleveland
Yeah,
won that
exactly. It can maybe get to the second round, but that's it.
one. Exactly. Let's see, between New Bern and New Hanover, I'm going to take New Bern.
Uh-huh.
And then New Bern will lose to Cleveland. So Cleveland is that bottom quadrant. So let's see,
Yeah.
we'll go up to the next one here. Let's see here. Laney over. Yeah, I'm gonna take Laney over Friendship. And then Jordan is playing. Who's Jordan playing?
I didn't know we had a friendship.
Oh, let's see here.
What
Jordan.
do you mean
will
you
beat-
didn't know?
Oh, Jordan or Hoggard to beat Jordan, and Hoggard. I got Hoggard going to the fourth rounds,
Okay, yeah, I do.
and then
too.
Hoggard will end up playing
Cleveland.
Cleveland. And to be honest with you, that's going to be a good game. That's going to be a really good game, and I'm picking Hoggard to win that one.
Are you? Okay, so I
Yeah.
picked Cleveland. I know it doesn't show here. I circled the game winner. I didn't write in Hoggard out to the right, but I circled the game winner, and then I'll put Cleveland
That's
in.
That's going to be a good one. That's going to be a really good one.
All right,
let's
and
see.
then let's go up to the other half of the bracket.
Let's see here. So, yeah, Pinecrest Clayton. Dang, that's going to be a good one. I'm going with.
Now remember, I'm a Pinecrest fan.
Yeah,
As I think most people should know, I'm fond of Pine. Well, maybe not a fan of, but I'm fond of them. But I just think this is
this is going to be two of the best coaches in the state. You got Nick Edens, you got Scott Chadwick.
yeah.
Nick Edens has been to a state championship game before. Scott Chadwick has resurrected several programs in the state before. Coaching is about as even as it goes. Neither one is going to be any over on top of the other.
Mhm.
I'm taking Pinecrest in this one, but it's just
I can
it's
appreciate
more
that.
emotional for me on that.
This was a hard choice for me, and I probably let emotions sway the pick of Clayton because I do like Coach
You know,
Chadwick.
it's not.
But I also, in my thoughts about Coach Chadwick, give him credit for being able to coach big games. So this will be a huge game.
The one thing that I will say from talking to people that Clayton plays a lot better at home than they do away, and that
Uh-huh.
game's going to be in Southern Pines, so
Right.
that would be a tough one there. Millbrook versus Cardinal Gibbons. I'm gonna go with Cardinal Gibbons in that one, and then
I think that'll be a good
Pinecrest.
game for people to go see if it happens. But yeah. Okay, so we
And then
agree.
I'm gonna take Pinecrest to beat Cardinal Gibbons. You got, I guess you got the other team.
I got Clayton beating
Clayton.
them. Yeah, I got Clayton
So-
beating them.
And then Pinecrest. Let's see what the top half is. We have to go to the Rollsville. Rollsville
Yeah.
will beat Gardner. Jack Britt will probably beat Ashley. I mean, Rollsville will easily get into the fourth rounds. And
We agree on the
Yeah.
Jack Britt and Ashley win, but
Yeah,
the road stops at.
and then Rollsville to me beats Pinecrest.
Yeah, and I picked Rolesville as well, all the way
Yeah.
to the finals.
Well, you're on a roll for Rollsville.
Yes, sir, Jeff. What do you think about Rolesville?
Well, they recently played in a state title game back when Julius Chambers was still Vance, and I know that they got a little bit of championship experience, even though they didn't win that one. They're, from what I understand, Wake Forest and Rollsville have been very, very good teams from the East. And I have that's basically Jim's wheelhouse, and not necessarily mine, but those are some good teams. In Pinecrest, I know their coach because he coached at Crest, so you got some good coaches down that way. So I would not discount the 4A East being competitive, but the 4A West, once you guys cover that, oh, Nelly.
Yeah, so I'm just going to add, Jeff, just don't take it wrong. Rollsville being in the state championship years ago, I'm going to apply some things to this year that actually apply to this team. They beat Butler start of the season. So, granted, could they beat them again? I don't know. But
hard to beat a good team twice.
One thing's, well, that's true. But one thing's for certain, that means they are a good team.
And the one team that Rollsville lost to happened to be Grimsley.
Let me get that back up. Adobe went south on us. There's 4A.
Well, it's winter time. Everybody's going south.
Yeah, well, Adobe Photo, or excuse me, Adobe Acrobat decided it didn't want to play anymore. Okay, so let's get over on the West, because the West is, the East. Not to take anything away from the East, there's some good squads there, and there's some good competition that's going to occur. But boy, let's get over.
Your bracket will get busted in 4A probably.
Yeah. Well, you know what? That's the problem about the West, is that this bracket can very easily get busted. It's going to be hard for these picks to follow through.
So going to the first round, I got Weddington beating Providence, and then Chambers will be all over Northwest Guilford. I saw Northwest play earlier on the season, and I don't think Chambers will lose any sleep over them. I got Reagan beating TC Roberson, although I know it's going to be hard to play over in Skyland for Reagan. I just think they have more talent, so I think they'll be fine with that.
Okay.
That Myers Park Catholic game, I tell you what, I'm taking Catholic in that game. I know that surprises people, but
no, it doesn't, because if you see my razor slash,
you got the razor's edge.
Exactly.
The battle for money.
I picked Myers Park, but I'm not going to be shocked if Catholic wins that game.
Let's see, Huff over Asheville, Porter Ridge, Cuthbertson. I think Porter Ridge is just too good for Cuthbertson, but we'll see on that. I'll take Porter Ridge.
Yeah, so Porter Ridge beat them earlier, 30-something to nothing, I think it was. So just.
Isn't that kind of a rivalry?
It is. The biggest rivalry for Porter Ridge is Sun Valley. But those Union County teams they rival.
Sun Valley, Cox Mill, that could actually be a very ugly game. I mean, I'm just not that big on Sun Valley right now, but I'll take Sun Valley to win that game.
You see my marker to the right of the game, up, down, up, down. Yeah. I was up, down on who to pick for this game myself.
It's like, whoever gets to the second round, it's just participation trophy because they're going to get blown out by Grimsley.
That's exactly what I thought. You know, as I looked at it, I said, what does it matter? It's going to be one game out of the entire bracket that will be eliminated in the next round, no matter what. So,
so Grimsley on that one.
yeah.
So, Mooresville, A.L. Brown. Yeah, I'll take Mooresville. Davy.
That's one that could be an upset right there.
A.L. Brown?
Yeah.
Okay. It's not out of the realm of possibility.
They played earlier on in the season, and actually Mooresville, I think A.L. Brown actually came back to make it with like a 1-touchdown game or something.
But I think that was late.
It was late. It was very late.
Yeah.
The game had already been decided, but that next game, that Davie Mount Tabor game, golly, that's going to be a good one.
Yeah.
I'm going to go with Mount Tabor on that one. Butler all over Alexander Central. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about that one. West Forsyth over Ardrey Kell. East Forsyth all over Page. That Lake Norman Independence game, I'm going with Independence. You got Independence too.
That's another upset.
What did you say,
Marvin
Jeff?
Ridge.
I said Independence over Lake Norman. That's another upset for me.
Oh, you're picking Lake Norman to win?
No, I'm picking Independence to win.
Okay, I don't think that's an upset, but it is as far as the bracket seeding is concerned. Yeah. Okay.
That Marvin Ridge, Mallard Creek, I'm going with Mallard Creek. I think that's going to be that's going to be a doozy of a game, though.
I went with Marvin Ridge because they seem to have some players back. Beating Weddington is huge. I've seen Weddington in person. I've seen Mallard Creek in person. So knowing that Marvin Ridge can play with a physical team like Weddington tells me they should be able to play with a physical team like Mallard Creek. But that game's going to be close.
This last game, the Watauga Hickory Ridge, don't be surprised if this game shocks people, like in the fourth quarter with Hickory Ridge coming out on that.
That's another one.
So look at my mark underneath it. You see my little mark down there? I'm going to highlight it there. You see that? Because I marked it. I picked Watauga, but I wanted to indicate that I was so on the fence, but just going ahead and picking Hickory Ridge. So,
I've thought about going out on a limb for that one and picking Hickory Ridge, because they've been more battle tested. Watauga, no offense, I have not been too impressed with their schedule this year. I mean, I know they've played a few decent teams, but Hickory Ridge, man, it's been murder's row on their schedule.
Yeah, so that's this was one of the games, because I had not done it yet. I had not made my pick, and I went ahead and created that cartoon of me on the limb, going out on a limb. And that's kind of what this little symbol was indicating, going out on a limb. I had to do it this way because I wasn't in Photoshop where I could freehand draw.
Probably the biggest obstacle for Hickory Ridge happens to be something that has nothing to do as much with football as it is the weather. I think going up to Boone when you got 20-some mile-per-hour winds is going to be hard for Hickory Ridge to handle. I'm going to go with Watauga in this game, but that's the only reason. If this game was neutral and it wasn't in the mountains, it was maybe in the foothills, I might go with Hickory Ridge. But it is what it is.
It is what it is. Yep.
Between Watauga and Mallard Creek, though, I'm going to go with Mallard Creek, believe it or not.
Okay.
And Independence and East Forsyth, I'm going with Independence in that game. I think Independence is going to be on a roll. And then Independence and Mallard Creek, I'm taking Independence.
Okay.
Independence into the fourth round.
So both of us have Independence into the fourth round.
Do y'all remember that one game, Dale, many, many years ago when Tommy Knotts was still coaching at Independence and East Forsyth came to town? And, man, there was a lot of jaw-jacking before the kickoff. I mean, I don't know why East Forsyth back then would jaw jack at a Tommy Knott's Independence team, but let's just say Independence backed that up during the game.
because
Remember that?
East Forsyth was doing well. They didn't they beat who did that? They beat a Mecklenburg County team.
That
was back
Butler or
they won 2 4A state championships earlier, like about 4 or 5 years ago, back when it was split.
yeah, we're talking about back when Tommy Knott's was coaching. I remember the scenarios he's talking about, and East Forsyth had kind of rolled through the previous year, and I'm thinking that year too, some Mecklenburg County teams. You know, East Forsyth also had the situation of a few years later facing Mallard Creek in the playoffs a couple of times. So people jacked their jaws against Tommy Knott's teams a lot.
I mean, if you want to beat your chest, I mean, do it in front of the mirror. Don't do it in front of somebody wearing the Independence Patriots jersey.
Is Tommy Knott's coached the Independence team.
So we got Independence. Both of us got into the 4th round. Let's see what the top part goes. Let's see here. West Forsyth. Was it the West Forsyth Butler? Is that the one?
Yeah, so West Forsyth Butler would be here.
Okay, because I thought. Okay. Yeah, Butler will beat West Forsyth.
Yeah.
Oh, well, you know what? That's what it is. Yeah, Butler will beat West Forsyth, and then let's see.
I have Butler playing Mooresville.
I think Mount Tabor will beat Mooresville. To be honest with you,
that's very probable. I think.
And then Butler beating Mount Tabor, and so.
Hey Jim, one thing I will say is these 4 teams here in this part of the bracket: Mooresville, A.L. Brown, Davie, Mount Tabor. There's not a huge gap.
No, there's not.
There's a gap, but those teams are all real close to each other, and they all know each other.
Yeah, the biggest, like the talent gap is Butler and everybody else in that section there. And I think Butler will beat Independence. I don't think it's going to be close, to be honest with you.
Yeah, so if they meet, I picked Butler to win it again, just based on what I saw in last week's game. I don't think adjustments can be made to overcome what I saw.
Now, at the top of the bracket, let's see here.
I'm going to scroll all the way up to the top.
So Weddington Chambers is a good game. That's going to be a really good one.
Agree.
I'm going to pick Weddington in that one. Catholic Reagan, I'm actually going to go with Catholic.
Okay.
And then with Weddington beating Catholic to go to the 4th round.
Okay.
So that takes that first quadrant.
Yeah, exactly. So our only difference in this quadrant is the Myers Park Charlotte Catholic game. Otherwise,
and then Reagan and T.C. Robertson also.
Oh, that's right. You picked Reagan. I picked T.C. Robertson. Exactly. I did pick the winner. So I do believe no matter what, the winner of the Myers Park Catholic game wins the 2nd round, loses the 3rd.
So I got Huff beating Porter Ridge, and then I got Grimsley all over Sun Valley.
Yeah, me too.
And that Grimsley Huff game, that's going to be a good one. It's going to be over at Jameson Stadium in Greensboro.
Mm-hmm.
That's going to be a fun game, and I probably will. You know what? That would be in the 3rd round, right?
Yeah, 3rd round.
So that would be November 17th. That might be a game I can go to. if that happens, I'll probably go to that game. I'll take Grimsley in that game.
Okay,
I think it's going to be offense versus defense, though.
I took Huff in that game.
Tough is tough.
Huff is tough. Like we said before, Jim, if we picked all the same, even in this bracket, I would be shocked.
Yeah. And between Grimsley and Butler, I'm taking Grimsley. You're probably taking Butler, aren't you?
No,
you're taking Huff.
I'm picking Huff all the way to the championship.
Okay, and I got Rollsville beating Grimsley in the championship. I'm going East, baby. East all the way.
Okay,
all four of my classifications East.
So you see, I put my pound sign here, and this also was a Dale's going out on a limb thing. And
now, do we need to do a thing of Jim on a limb?
No, because Jim, picking Grimsley to make it, and
that's the safe bet, if anything.
That's a sort of a safe bet. Huff is a not safe bet because while Huff may have, in all honesty, there's a possibility Huff has a better team than Grimsley, but they don't have the moxie to get them past Grimsley. So,
but Jim's going all East.
Jim went all East.
Yeah, that's where I'm going. That's the hammer inside of me. I'm tired of my Eastern boys losing to you Western boys.
Well, this is a
City Slickers.
Exactly.
Y'all nothing but City Slickers.
Well, this is a Rollsville team that could hold that up, Jim.
I'll tell you what, Rollsville, 71st, Clinton, and Tarboro. Those are four really good teams. Excellent teams in each one of their classifications.
Jeff was laying down on us. So we got a Bessemer City person in. Didn't have as many people on. We got a number of people, not a number, but we have about the same number of people watching. We don't have as many commenters tonight.
Kerry asked about West Lincoln. We both selected West Lincoln to go to the second round.
Oh, did she? Yes, she did. Did you guys say we would get to? Yes, you'll get to round 2. You better.
We got you beating Chase. That's where playing Monroe, though. That's where you talk about 2024. No offense to West Lincoln fans, it is what it is. What it is.
Monroe is.
And Mr. Holmes, we had Bessemer City winning in the first round.
That's right, we did. Losing to Monroe's. I hate to use the word expected, but Monroe's just a very, very good team. So.
The only thing you can do is if you're playing against Monroe, just hope Monroe has like an intestinal virus or something.
Yeah.
Or exactly. If you want to keep the game respectable, try and create long runs, or just to be methodical with offense. Get a few yards here, get the first down, and then long drives to keep that explosive offense off. But usually that's easier said than done.
Matriculate the ball down the field. Dale, you probably know this. Who used to say that? Just keep on matriculating the ball boys down the field.
Keep on matriculating the ball down the field?
Yeah. And when he was happy with his quarterback, he'd call him Lenny. And when he was wanting to get his attention, he'd call him Leonard. I think he just passed away recently, the quarterback I'm talking about. Let me pull it up real quick.
I don't know why this is not sticking in my head. I'm sure it's
the quarterback was the seventh son of a seventh son. Actually, this quarterback passed away last year. But the coach, he won a Super Bowl, one of the first early ones. That's a big hit.
Yeah, see, I'm thinking it's going to be a coach from the 60s and 70s.
And you're right. NFL coach.
Um,
He was one of the first head coaches to get mic'd up in a Super Bowl.
See, I was wanting to Lenny.
His name rhymes with ham.
Yes, so I was wondering. Yeah, you talking about Stram,
Yep, Hank Stram.
Hank Stram, and I was wondering about Kansas City
Yeah.
as well.
Hank Stram. Keep matriculating the ball downfield, boys.
Hank Stram. Yeah, I for some reason that statement though doesn't register in my head. It doesn't click in, but it for the only thing that clicked into my head when you first said it was, okay, this is going to be something in the 60s or 70s, and probably stronger in the 60s to just cross over, into the 70s era of football.
See, Hank Stram to me was like the Jim Valvano version of his era, for football.
Right.
A lot of personality, very intelligent guy.
I will agree with that. I wish I could remember the statement though, or that saying. Some reason I don't, but when you said Lenny, and the next thing that kicked into my head was Kansas City.
Yeah.
But I couldn't, I couldn't piece the things together that I needed to confidently make the statement.
Well, a lot of people thought the Steelers always had a great football dynasty. They were horrible until they had Chuck Noll. Len Dawson actually spent 3 years with the Pittsburgh Steelers and didn't get off the bench. And then he was 2 years with the Browns, played a little bit. They threw him to Kansas City. Or actually, he went to Kansas City, got tired of being on like the third string, because back then Kansas City was part of the AFL. And so he jumped leagues and went to Kansas City. But the Steelers were horrible. I mean, it's they had, I think, maybe 5 or 6 winning seasons before Noel got there.
Yeah, Chuck Noll did a fantastic job.
Yeah,
very, very good football coach. He and
Don Shula is another guy who was a big one.
Well, I'm a huge Don Shula fan. I was a big Dolphins fan. Don Shula.
I think Noel actually was an assistant under Shula when Shula was with the Colts.
At the Colts, yeah. I think maybe you're right.
I think that's correct.
Something in my mind says that's correct. That Chuck Noll was at the Colts.
Yeah.
When Shula was there.
Dale, where are you going to be this Friday night?
I'm going to go to that Myers Park Catholic game, it looks like.
Should
to me, looks like the best game around me.
Yeah.
That I don't have to travel too far to, I guess. There's some really good games, and if I wanted to drive about an hour, I could hit a whole bunch of games. But I'm a little intrigued by this Myers Park Catholic game. I'm really more intrigued about Myers Park. They have had an interesting season, and this is an interesting rebuild for them after their really disastrous season last year.
Right.
So, yeah, I'm interested to see. I mean, they played Huff close. Are they that kind of team? If they are, they're going to make noise in the playoffs. That's why I picked them to beat Catholic. I'm kind of assuming they are a team that can play a Huff to a one-score game.
Right.
So, yeah, that's where I'm going. Where are you heading? Oh, you've already said you're going to see Leesville Road. Yeah.
Should be a fun game.
You can tell us if Richmond is getting a a little bit of Raider magic back.
I think they're going to win. I think it's going to be a close one. I think they're going to shock a lot of people because I think a lot of people think Louisville Roads is the second best team in Wake County. I think Louisville Roads get more hype than Cardinal Gibbons. I'm just not that impressed, to be honest with you. I'm not impressed with Cardinal Gibbons either right now. But
I hear you. I picked Richmond to win as well. So let's hope we're both made right. And I say that more in a sense of I want to see Richmond return to some kind of prominence.
It's good for football.
I think it's good for football, exactly. For the longest time, Richmond was a statement team from North Carolina, and they were at some points they were the team when you looked to North Carolina, you would say Richmond County. So I'd like to see them come back, Jim.
Same thing like with Albemarle and Thomasville. If they can establish themselves to be good 1A programs, I mean, year in and year out, that's good for football because those. The thing about a lot of people are like, oh, I love it when the team I can't stand is going down the dumps. There's a lot of people who can't stand Richmond. And you know how it is. Richmond's got some great fans, but then you got some of the ones that talk too much.
Right.
And cause ruins and everything else. Everybody hates, a lot of people hate Richmond. But when they're not there, they're not quite as excited about football. That's why you always need to have somebody to wear the black hat.
That's a good point. I think you mentioned the Albemarle and Thomasville. I just can't help but think back at how great those games were when both teams were not just competitive, but actually competing for getting 2 state titles.
Right.
Being able to face each other late in the season in the playoffs, and both teams having great records. That's what I think about when I think about Albemarle and Thomasville.
Right.
So I'm with you. I think football, at least for me, is good when those 2 teams are good as well.
Back in the late 70s, early 80s with college football, you probably remember this, it got a little bit stagnant because you had the same teams year in and year out were dominant like Oklahoma, Nebraska,
Nebraska,
Alabama,
Nebraska,
Georgia. And it was Penn State was, always was, I mean, they had like 4 or 5 undefeated seasons. They didn't get their first championship till 82.
Yep.
And then 83 came in, and the U came in, Miami, Florida, and they played a different type of football than anybody else.
A whole different kind of football. It wasn't smash in the mouth football. It was very exciting, explosive.
And they had athletes all over the place. Howard Schnellenberger had the state of Miami.
Yep.
Basically wrapped up everything south of the I-4 corridor and recruited like crazy. And then, picked some recruits outside of that, obviously. But that changed. That was good for football.
Do you remember it was called Football News, right? The big, thick magazine that would come out in the spring to early summer. It was it wasn't sporting news. It was
the one I did was the Jim Feist one. I know what you're talking about, but I never got it, I don't think.
It was thick. It was several inches thick, maybe about 3 inches thick, 2-3 inches thick, and it covered every college team. And it was a great book to have. I used to buy it every year. It seemed like it was called Football News.
Was it hardback?
No, it was a bendable, like a small phone book. Not a Charlotte phone book, but
I know it wasn't a magazine, but it was.
No, it wasn't a skinny magazine. It covered. It had every college team, and had maybe Well, it had several pages for each team.
Was it one of those things that was bounds? Did it have a binder like a
It had a
spiral
binder like a phone book does.
Yeah, that's exactly. Yeah, I remember that. That's
Yeah.
my grandfather used to get those things. But I did not. I never got it myself. I always got the Jim Feist magazines.
Gotcha.
And,
Yeah, I saw those.
And what Feist always did, they always had the last 10 years of everybody's schedule. And what I
Right.
always liked to do was compare the conferences. And I don't know about you, but back in the 70s, 80s, the Southwest Conference was probably superior over Southeast Conference. Actually, I know
Yeah.
it was.
Yeah.
It was really
it's
the
hard.
Big Eight, Southwest, and then the Southeast. Big Ten was kind of there. Big Ten was kind of.
Yeah, it's
I
hard
don't
for.
know.
It's probably hard for people today to think about USC and UCLA and I'm just thinking about the teams that we don't think about today when we really talk about like USC. When do we talk about? And I'm talking about Southern Cal.
Right.
Um, we don't really think about uh, that school as a top football school anymore.
And the 70s, they were dominant.
Yeah, exactly. So there's been a lot of shift in where football has moved itself into primarily being the a large focus on the SEC for football.
Yeah, Texas, Oklahoma, and Notre Dame's been all over the board over
Yeah,
the last
Texas,
20 some years.
Oklahoma, Nebraska.
Nebraska's just fallen off the face of the earth.
Yeah, and Notre Dame was all around forever.
What hurt the Notre Dame more than anything else was getting Jerry Faust. I think was the guy Joyce, who was the president of Notre Dame. I think he panicked.
Yeah,
You know what? You know who they were wanting to get to be the head coach, don't you? He was a football coach at Navy at the time, and he ended up leaving Navy to go to the ACC coach, ACC school.
Faust took
George
over.
Welsh.
Yeah, he Faust was. I'm thinking him, Divine.
No, being Divine, they always said that he was a guy that you could be right next to him and get a cold from his personality. He was not somebody that was going to be a great guy to have in a talk show, but he knew how to coach your football team.
Obviously, neither one of us had an opportunity to know the man in life or have seen him operate in life, but I'd love to have an opportunity to peek at New Rockney.
Oh yeah. What did he died in a plane crash back in was it the 30s or 40s or
did he make it to the 40s?
It might have been the 30s.
I don't know. I read in elementary school. I remember reading a book on
1931.
1930. Yeah, I didn't think he made it into the 40s. A long time ago, but you read about him. He's very inspirational and would, I think, be a great person to deliver a pregame speech. In fact, Jim Valvano said that when he coached his first game, college game at Rutgers, and the players, so you've heard the story about
Yeah,
him.
but the freshman, it's like,
and
yeah, I know was it your family, your religion, and the Green Bay Packers?
Remember that? So he had also read a lot about studied Newt Rockney, and some of his methods. But yeah, his that in the Green Bay Packers.
I still like Woody Hunt's, thing about Valvano goes up to him and says, and Woody says, not one more word, Jim. He's like, well, it's all right what I think, right? And you know what he says then.
Oh yeah, Woody told me the story. I was in. We shared. We were in the same office complex, and so we had our common area bathroom that all the offices used. And I was in there washing my hands, and I had my NC State shirt on, and I'd never talked to Woody, and I had seen him a lot, but had never talked with him. So Woody came up to me and he said, that was the first thing he told me. He told me that story. He said, so you're an NC State guy? Yeah. He said, well, let me tell you something that Jim Valvano told me. And he told me the whole story about, he gave him technical foul because of what he was thinking. I think you suck.
And for people that don't know this, Woody Hunt's wife was my U.S. history teacher at North Stanley.
Oh, and Woody Hunt was an official in the ACC,
right?
Back in that time frame. So Woody's such a good man. I'm sure I've told you, Jim. He came into my office one Friday morning, and he throws 2 tickets down on my desk. It's for the ACC tournament. And he said, enjoy. So he himself, being a former official, all he had to do was show a badge, and he was allowed into any game, anywhere.
Wow.
ACC tournament, anywhere. And he worked for a company called Superbag. He was their top salesman. And Superbag is the largest manufacturer of plastic bags that when you go to the grocery store, to Target, your checkout bag that you carry your stuff out in, the company he worked for made those. And being in Charlotte, Harris Teeter was their biggest customer. So they would get a block of tickets for the ACC tournament that they'd give out to executives at Harris Teeter, so those guys could go as a sales incentive thing. So Woody walks in, throws 2 tickets down. He says, "Here you go." And I looked at him. I'm like, "Wow, Woody, thanks." And I know I had the look on my face because immediately, see, I have 2 sons, so immediately my face is in NC State. It was in Greensboro that night. It was the year that it was in one of the years it was in Greensboro. And so immediately I started thinking, which son am I going to take? And Woody looked at me and said, "I know you're happy, but you something doesn't look right." I said, "Oh, I'm just trying to figure which son I'm going to take." He said, "Okay, well, just don't do anything. Don't leave the office before lunchtime." And I'm like, "Yeah, okay." And he comes back in right before lunch, and I told him, I said, "Well, I made up my mind what I'm going to do." He said, "Oh, what are you going to do?" I said, "I'm going to take my boys, and I'll sit out in the car and listen to the game on the radio and let them go in and watch it." He throws 2 more tickets down. He says, "Doesn't matter. I got you 2 more tickets." He had to check with tickets he was giving out if people were. So that's the kind of man Woody Hunt was.
Woody's a good man. He was a good
very
man.
good man.
He left us about 10 years early. 10 years ago.
Exactly. But he smoked like, a chimney, and that was his problem. I've been fishing on Baden Lake with him, striped bass fishing in his boat. That was a lot of, we had so much fun.
When you went fishing at Baden Lake, where'd you put your boat out of? Did you do
I don't know the access ramps.
Was it in front of Alcoa, was it?
It was real close to Alcoa, yeah.
Okay, because
it may have been like right at Alcoa.
Yeah, I know exactly where. There was a ball field up there. There was a gas station you could go, and I gravel a lot. I grew up 500 yards from that area.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, there was When you go to Baden, you'll go right on let's say you're coming in from Albemarle, Alcoa would be on the left.
Right.
When you get into the town of Baden, you're going to see the very first road is called Nantahala. And you take Nantahala, there's a little baseball field. Now it's a soccer field. You go around this curve, and then on the right is Tallahassee Street. And I live the third house on the right on Tallahassee.
Oh, okay.
But if you keep on going past that, the next road is Falls Roads, and then right past that's where Baden Lake is. So I could walk from my house to Baden Lake in 10 minutes.
Woody that was his favorite thing to do, besides selling and.
No, they had 3 sons. I know they had David was my age.
And
there's one that's Lee.
1 or 2 of them are police officers or
right.
Something with the police.
I think their oldest one was definitely police, and the youngest one might be too.
Yeah, I think David was 2, but I'm not going to bet money on it. I think
because David was my age. He went to Albemarle High School, which is funny. He went to Albemarle High School, and his mom taught at North Stanley. I went to North Stanley. My mother taught at Albemarle High School, so I knew Dave. Dave was a good fellow.
It was interesting because right beside Woody's office was the CMPD Charlotte-Mecklenburg Police Department bike.
Tim Hunt. That's
Tim. Yeah.
Tim, yeah.
So the bike patrol was right beside his office. So because we were near the university, near UNCC, so those guys would patrol the area on bicycles. And anytime I would go by, if those guys were around, they were in there talking to Woody if Woody was there, and they would talk a lot of, Woody would talk a lot about his boys, and especially at least one of them, I think 2, were police officers. Woody was a good guy. I really enjoyed him. Enjoyed talking with him. He claims, and Woody told me so many things that proved to be true. I don't believe that this is made up, but he claims to have helped Lefty Drizel get his job at Maryland from Davidson. So Woody was on the board at Davidson University. I don't know if
I knew that.
Okay.
Yeah, I knew that
so
part.
He knew Lefty when Lefty coached at Davidson, and him being in the ACC, he had, connections. And so he helped Lefty get his job at Maryland, is what he says.
I didn't know about that. I think he helped Terry Holland get his job at Virginia.
I could believe
I did not know about Maryland either. I didn't know about Drizel in Maryland, but I was pretty sure that about Holland and Virginia, though.
That may be so. The only reason we talked about Lefty, well, we talked a lot about ACC basketball, since he was an official. But we talked more about Davidson because, my son got recruited by Davidson to play football. So we talked more about Davidson. And I think that's when he brought up that, well, Lefty Drizel went to Maryland because I helped set that up when he was at Davidson. So he probably helped Terry Holland too. I wouldn't be surprised.
Now, how many? What's the enrollment at Davidson University?
15. It's about like a high school.
So it's about 1,500 total of undergrads.
Well, I think I'm trying to remember if it was. I think the incoming class was a size of 1,500. And the way Davidson works is first you have to qualify to be able to be a student. So before you can be a football player or an athlete, you got to qualify to be a student. And so there's certain qualifications to be a student. And David, my son, he didn't make the first cut. So you have to apply, become a student, be accepted as a student. Then the football team will give you a letter, a national letter to sign. You don't sign a letter of intent until after you're accepted as a student. So
That's
David
wonderful.
didn't make the first cut, and but that he got a letter and said you didn't make the first cut. You're on the list. If they don't get enough people, then he decided to, I don't know, through a lot of hard thought and not wanting to hurt anymore, etc. He just decided to go on to NC State because he had been accepted into the engineering school at NC State. So he made the decision, okay, I'm not going to play football. I'm going to go to NC State. And after he completed his enrollment, paying for everything and blah, 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 and getting accepted at NC State, he got a letter from Davidson that said, you've been accepted.
So
So
Davidson was
1,500.
back then though. Davidson was more. It was harder to get in Davidson than it was NC State. I didn't know how hard it was to get in Davidson. I didn't know.
Davidson's very hard. Davidson,
is it as hard as like Wake Forest and Duke?
harder,
Really? Okay.
supposedly harder. Yeah, it's. I don't know because David didn't apply and didn't talk to, but David's SAT scores and his GPA was 4.67, something like that, and his SAT score, I don't remember it, but it was out the roof, and his AP scores and everything. So he had just all the marks, but his marks weren't quite as good as some of the other people that applied. But David's NC State's a lot easier as for general admission, which is still the engineering school requires, you got to meet certain standards, and the standards at NC State are much lower than they are at Duke. However, the engineering school standards are higher. So you can't just say, I want to be an engineering student. Oh, NC State's a great engineering school. I'm going to apply there and go into engineering school. They won't accept you into the school unless you meet their standards. But it was easier for him to qualify for that than it was for Davidson for the first round of cuts. And then no engineering, because Davidson, the closest thing he could do for engineering was math. He didn't have classes that he would be able to get credits for that would apply towards his engineering degree. There was just really nothing there. So as far as for what his life goal was as an engineer, they were going to do what they called a 3 and 5, which was he do 3 years at Davidson and then 2 years at NC State to have his BS in mechanical engineering. So yeah, it's a tough school, but it's really not. It's also not a school geared for somebody who wants that kind of academic study.
So I applied to two colleges back in 1988. One of them was NC State. The other one was UNC Chapel Hill, and got my acceptance letter. It was dated October 31st of 1988 from NC State. Got it really early. And you know what school I was going to go to if I went to NC State? You know what school I got accepted to?
Which one?
The textiles.
The textile school.
Thank God I did not go to NC State. I'd be in miserable shape right now.
And well, then, I don't know that you would be, because while the textile business is not here, there's still it would depend upon what you got out of the school.
Right. I might be speaking Mandarin right now.
It and Auburn and Clemson are the 3 top textile schools in not just the United States, but they are, world renowned, recognized. So your knowledge, depending on what you obviously you learned in the school. My cousin got a degree in out of the textile school. His father got a degree in the textile school, but his father worked in Burlington, and all of those, places were wide open. That'd be interesting, though. It would for you, Mandarin or Vietnamese, Vietnam, Thailand,
or Spanish in Mexico, go to Mexico.
well,
The other one, I got another good admission story for you. This was back in 1984. My sister had gotten waitlisted at Carolina, and she was getting really nervous because it was getting March and she had not heard anything back from Carolina. So they decided to, it was my parents and my grandparents decided to go to visit Appalachian in the middle of March. It coincided with my 13th birthday. My parents forgot my birthday. My grandparents forgot my birthday. My sister did not forget my birthday, and she was loving every second of it.
Oh, I bet so.
So I get up there, and finally my phone was like, "It's your birthday. Why didn't you say anything?" I'm like, "I shouldn't have to." So I got this. They got me this. We're all gone up the Boone. Got this really stale birthday cake. It was awful, And I was just mad and fire. So we get back from Boone, get back to Baden. I was so mad. I just got on my bike, rode to the post office, got the mail, and inside that mail is my sister's acceptance letter to Carolina. And I'm like, you got to be kidding me. I think I said something like, son of a,
Yeah, we did all this, and now it's for nothing. Oh, goodness.
After that, I was like, you know what? I'm going to study. I'm going to do well. I'm going to get accepted to Carolina and not have to wait for anybody. But you know what, Dale? It's already 9:45.
Yeah, another long one. Okay.
This has been great, man. Let's
Friday,
call it a night then.
Yep. I hope you have a good game Friday night. And then let's, I guess you'll be on Spaces. We'll have Spaces. I got to get this whole time schedule of when games start. I told Sam 7:30 in a text the other day because I'm so used to all games being at 7:30.
Right.
Now it looks like there were games at 7:00. So anyway, let me go see.
All right, we'll meet up on Friday then.
Okay.
All right. Well, from Jim West and Dale Ross, thank you so much for joining. Take care.
All right. See ya.
See ya.